Ex Machina has been one of my most anticipated films of the year for quite a while, and the reason for that is that I absolutely love Alex Garland. Now, he's the guy who wrote and directed this, but he's also the writer of films like The Beach and Sunshine 28 Days Later. He's written a lot of really, really good movies, and I was interested to see his directional debut. The plot basically follows the character played by, I think his first name's pronounced Domhnall Gleeson, Brendan Gleeson's son. I think it's pronounced Domhnall, I'm not entirely sure, but he basically wins a competition to go and stay with the creator and CEO of like a futuristic Google type company, played by Oscar Isaac. He gets to go and stay with him for a week and take part in an experiment while he's there. Now, it transpires that that experiment is actually testing a robot played by Alicia Vikander. It's basically the story of what happens over the course of that week between the three of them. It's shot in a very sort of cold and clinical way, and I think that really suits the type of sci-fi that this movie's going for. All three of the main performances are pretty brilliant. They all have their own challenges. Domhnall is quite a relatable lead. Oscar Isaac is very charismatic and eccentric, but has a certain darkness under the surface that I think is prevalent throughout. You have Alicia Vikander playing the robot Ava, who has probably the greatest transformation over the course of the film as she veers towards finding humanity in her own character, and I think they're all really strong performances. And the film itself sort of reminded me of a feature-length episode of Black Mirror, or should I say The Twilight Zone, and I really like that sort of tone that it strikes throughout the movie. I thought it was very interesting. The special effects on Ava as well, the robot body, are pretty brilliant for its budget. The CGI is almost flawless. It's really well done in this, but I do think from looking at it, it looks like it is a blend of practical and CG and stuff. It looks really good either way. There are some standout moments, you know, a dance number with Oscar Isaac and a female helper that he has at his apartment, or house should I say, which is situated out in the middle of nowhere in the woods by a river. So straight away, you know, going out there, you'd be like, this isn't all that it seems. But a dance number that he does is very good. You know, he's very charismatic all the way through, and you can't help but sort of like him. And I think the film really successfully does it really well in that it basically switches, not necessarily sympathies, but you know, you'll go through certain points of trusting a character, then not trusting him, then trusting him again, and then not trusting him again. It keeps the audience on the back foot almost all the way through. I do have some criticisms though. It feels too short. It feels like there's probably about 20 minutes missing from this movie, especially between probably the second and third acts. There are certain character moments where Domhnall Gleeson's character will do something, and you just think, this doesn't really fit with the character's motivations, or you don't get a real insight into his motivations for these moments, because you have to remember this character is only out there for a week. It's not that long. Some of the things he does, they don't quite feel right with the rest of the movie, and it does feel like there's maybe certain scenes missing that flesh out his motivations that would have made the film a bit more of a complete experience. People are praising it as one of the best sci-fi films to come out in the last few years. Is it that good? Probably not. It is a bit of a sort of rehash of certain themes and ideas that have been done before, you know, in better movies. I'm glad to see an intelligent film come along that people are really enjoying. It's not quite the modern masterpiece that people are saying it is. There's quite a bit wrong with it, and most of that stems from it's either the script or the editing when they've cut stuff out. So when the film finished, basically I did feel satisfied, but then I had some little sort of niggling questions like, why would they do that, and why did he do that, and that doesn't really make any sense. It feels like maybe there's a director's cut out there somewhere that'd be a much better, much more fulfilling movie, and I'll be interested to see what Alex Garland does next. It very much adheres to the tropes that he's established for his own work. He has the eccentric loner who goes off into isolation to create a society or community, no matter how big or small, on his own. Alex Garland has said in interviews, basically it's the third act of Apocalypse Now. He does it in all of his films, and he does it in this as well, except that it's pretty much the whole film in this. So dependent on how you feel about that will probably colour your impression of this movie. I like all that stuff, so I thought it was fine, but it may put you off. If you think that Alex Garland's only got one story in him, I can't imagine that this is going to change your mind. It's a really good, effective movie. I would recommend it. I don't think you should go in expecting a modern masterpiece, because it's not. Go in expecting a really well done, little sci-fi drama, and you'll enjoy it. There's something there for you.